This is the Pillowcase step 3. Step 3 is an interesting step because it's not required. This is how to use the embroidery machine. You do not have to embroider on any of your projects, but we want to teach you how to use the embroidery machine. So if you're not interested in embroidery, go ahead and skip this step. The embroidery machine. This is kind of our embroidery station right here. We have our embroidery machine right here. To our right, we have our thread. Embroidery thread is different than all-purpose thread. If you take a close look at it, you'll notice that it's much, much stronger than your all-purpose thread. That needle is going up and down through the fabric so much that the thread has to be stronger or it will break. Right down here in this cupboard, right next to this station, is our stitch and tear. We'll be utilizing that in just a few minutes. Essentially, the stitch and tear is meant to reinforce our fabric. In our drawer, this is where we have all of our supplies. We have a variety of different sizes of hoops. For the project of the pillowcase, this medium-sized hoop is what we want to use. We have our embroidery cards right here. The embroidery machine itself has several pre-programmed designs on it. The fonts that we use are all pre-programmed onto the machine. Then you can buy additional designs on a little embroidery card. This embroidery card is inserted into the side of the machine right over here. That we've got these, they're kind of expensive, so we only have 2 of them. We have kind of this friendship one, and then we have this ugly celestial one. The whole reason we have it is because there is a lightning bolt. We've got tweezers and a seam ripper just in case you need one while you're over here. And then these are pre-wound bobbins that will match some of the threads that we have over there. If you ever need a fresh bobbin, just ask your teacher. We'll get you a fresh bobbin and you can wind the color you need. It is important to make sure that your bobbin thread and your top thread actually match. You would think it looks kind of cool and kind of camo-y, but it doesn't. It just looks retarded. So make sure your threads match. We do have extra needles here in case that is needed. So looking at the embroidery machine and getting this programmed. Very first thing that we want to do is turn the machine on. Right off to the right here, you will notice that we have no vertical thread spool right here. We want to use either the horizontal thread spool or the standalone stand for thread spools. These thread spools are a little bit large to fit onto the machine anyway, so the standalone is a great option. You just pull the thread up so that it goes through this guide, and then it comes over as if it was coming from this part of the machine anyway. Threading the top half is just like threading your sewing machine. You're going to come over, down, up, down, hook, and the second hook is the one key part that is different. You'll notice it's just a little piece of metal that you're going to slip the thread underneath. Then you'll notice the presser foot is a little bit different. You're just slipping your thread through the center hole and you're ready to go with the top thread. With the bottom thread, it's just like threading your machine. You're putting your thread into the bobbin, you're getting it in the tension, you're sticking it in all the way till it's clicked. Then you're trimming off your thread. We are now ready to program our machine. You've got 2 options here. This first option is the actual embroidery module, which is this part of the machine right here. You'll notice it's a separate part of the machine. It detaches. Otherwise, this is just a normal sewing machine. It plugs into the side of the machine right over here. Please don't mess with that. Don't wiggle it. Its circuitry board is inside of there, and if we destroy that, then it doesn't work. So we've got 2 options. The teddy bear is the embroidery card that you would stick in the side of the machine. We're not using that one today. We're just going to do a font. So we just select the embroidery module. This is where it has the pre-programmed designs. It takes a moment for the machine to think. It beeps at you when it's ready, and it pops up this message saying drop the feed dogs. Remember, the feed dogs are right over here underneath the presser foot. They're what move the fabric through while you're sewing. We don't want those. We don't want the fabric to just go straight through. We want to deactivate those so that the embroidery machine can go all different directions. So the feed dogs are right over on the bottom side of the machine. we want to deactivate that. It's already deactivated. You really shouldn't have to push that button. It should be in. So you can simply push the escape button and ignore that message. So it's showing you the 5 pre-programmed fonts that we have. There's also several ugly, scrolly things that you can do as well. We're not really interested in looking at those at this point. Everything on this screen is touch screen. This font font number 1 is a very popular font. It's fat, it's curvy, it takes a little bit longer to embroider simply because it is so fat. The font number 2, oh, and I pushed it, is a very popular font in the sense that it is scrolly and pretty and feminine, and you can't read it at all. We're going to go back, see if we can click back. We'll just turn the machine off and start over. Font number 3 and 4 are very, very popular fonts. They are very similar to font number 1. They are very easy to read, and they don't take nearly as long because they are not as fat to actually do the embroidery on. Font number 5 is italicized. It's very easy to read. It gives you a little bit more of that feminine look without not being able to read it. So for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to pick either font 3 or 4 because those go the fastest. We'll pick font 4. Really, the only difference is the feet that are on the end of the letters. So it takes a moment for all the different letters to come up, and then we can scroll down. It starts with your capitalized letters, then it goes, you'll notice there's a little dash right there, that's a space, so if you want to leave a little bit of a space between words, you can. Then it has your lowercase, and if you keep scrolling down, it gets to numbers. Here's where we get to a larger space, and some of our punctuation. If you have to have that hashtag, there it is. That's actually called the pound symbol, just so that we're all clear. We are going to just go ahead and do something nice and short on this pillowcase. You can do long words, but it does take a little bit longer to do that, and sometimes the longer you get, the smaller the embroidery will be. So we're just going to keep this a simple DHMS. If I needed to delete a letter, I can. I just push the delete button, and I work my way through. It displays what it's going to write right here. If I'm happy with that, I push OK. The machine is going to take just a moment to think. You'll notice that's what that flashing hourglass is it's thinking, it's programming. And the machine is starting to move around a little bit. It's going to pop up a message and say, you don't have an embroidery hoop attached. So let's go ahead and get to that part.